I've talked to several hunters that have hunted all their life and had an encounter with something they couldn't explain. And we've had hunters tell us, my hunting days are over. I'm not, and it's amazing that someone will have a sighting of something like this and it affects them that way.
Now, you are director of the Sasquatch Watch.
Correct.
What is this organization?
We put the organization together to handle calls of encounters and sightings in the state of Virginia. We've got a hotline in place. We also have a web form that people can fill out if they've seen something strange that they want to report. Our whole goal is to go out and try to find some type of evidence, first of all, proof probably for ourselves, but also proof that there is the possibility this thing exists. We've been very successful of getting sightings, and probably one of the most exciting ones that we got was from a lady, her husband, and her granddaughter over in Spotsylvania County. It's probably one of the best ones we've gotten to date. And we had a recent expedition out there this past April. And I tell you, a lot of exciting things happened at that expedition. Although we didn't solve the mystery, there was a lot of people there shaking and scratching their heads.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea, we had some folks that were stationed in a Jeep, and they drove the Jeep up into this very tall shrub area. And it was him and another gentleman in the Jeep. They had something moving around the Jeep that they could never figure out what it was. And then all of a sudden, something came running out of the shrubs and hit the back of his Jeep. He had a spare tire on the back, hit and shook the Jeep back and forth.
Oh, wow.
Scared them to death. They sat there for about five minutes looking at each other, trying to decide who was going to get out and see what it was. Eventually, they did get out of the vehicle, and when they walked around to the back of the Jeep, lo and behold, they saw a footprint. There was a little small stream right behind the Jeep. It was a footprint right behind the Jeep.
Wow.
So they had a pretty close encounter there, although they didn't get to see what hit it. So.
How big is this footprint?
That particular footprint was about 15 inches long.
So if we were to put it to a modern shoe size, just then everyone gets a feeling, what would a 15-inch foot be equivalent to, for?
Oh, it's pretty good. It's
a good size foot.
It's a pretty good size foot.
Okay, so you're looking at a size 20 shoe.
Definitely,
Okay, because that's one thing people don't always say. Found a large footprint. Well,
right.
For tall men like ourselves, we have a pretty big foot.
Right.
But in comparison to a Sasquatch,
right.
Ours would be small.
Well, not only that, the other thing is with the human foot, even if we have large feet, just the mere girth of the feet, the width, is really one of the distinct factors with a Sasquatch print. Typically they're pretty wide. They got a lot of length and a lot of width, and that's one of the things. Now I have a cast that we took in Culpeper County, and that one is 15 inches by 8.5 inches wide.
Oh my.
So it's a good size foot.
That is a good size foot. Now, for the Sasquatch Watch, you said that part of your organization is to kind of show for yourselves that this is here. Now, because you have people collecting your views, how often do you find some people decide they want to take your organization not so seriously and they just want to prank it? I have to assume it happens.
It happens a lot. A lot of it, of course, is teenagers. We get a lot of calls on the hotline. They make themselves very obvious because they can't hold a straight face as they're talking on the phone, and they start to giggle. But we do get a lot of that. Now, we have not yet had what we considered a serious person call in and try to prank us that we know of. But I'm sure it happens. And, and as many of those as we get, I'm sure that we also get just as many misidentifications. We have yet to find anything that can be, hard proof evidence that this creature exists, other than the, eyewitness testimonies, and then of course the footprints, which we can't explain.
Right. Now, there's a famous film of the Sasquatch walking. It's the Patterson film, I believe.
Yep.
Now, this was from 1976.
Actually, 1968,
68.
or 67 or 68.
Okay, my mistake.
Yeah.
So this comes from quite some time ago. It's the best-known footage of a Sasquatch moving about, and there's been a lot of debate as to its legitimacy.
Right.
And so, can you shed some light on this?
Yeah. I believe that film to be authentic. There have been a lot of debates over the fact that there may have been a gentleman by the name of Bob Hieronymus who was in a suit that was obtained. A lot of people have tried to prove that. There's been a lot of shows I'm sure that people are aware of, like Monster Quest and some of the other shows, that have tried to do an exact imitation, but no one's been successful. You know, people who are, you know, in primate studies have looked at the film. People who are into biomechanics and how the body, how human moves, they have not been able to successfully mimic the gait or the walk that this creature has in the film. In addition, there's been a lot of studies done by other people who are in the profession, of course, of special effects, such as Disney and places. A lot of them have admitted that to pull something off like what is in that film back at that time would have costed millions of dollars. You know, so we're talking about a guy who had a little amateur camera trying to pull off a hoax. If you look at some of the mechanics in the film, there's been a lot of people who you know, their specialty is to pull those visuals up so that you can get a closer look. And you can actually see certain things that a suit just couldn't produce. For example, one of the most famous is what's called the hernia. There's a point in that film where the creature is walking and you can see a distinct bulge coming out of the thigh. Someone with a baggy suit, that's not going to happen.
No.
So there's a lot of mechanics there involved that really show more that that is a real creature in that film.
Now, with this creature, I think, now I remember way back when, and this kind of dates myself, and I'm sure you remember this program of Unsolved Mysteries. They took the film and they kind of did the zoom in on the face, and they had a hard time getting the actual face down.
Right.
They said, oh, it might not be real.
Right.
Oh, look at the wrist, that's a wristwatch, and things like that. With modern technology as it is, has there been new attempts as well to even, I mean, you talked about the hernias, I mean, that clearly shows a newer piece of technology, but have you heard of any other newer studies to look even deeper, maybe even try to clean up the face image so that we can get a better look?
Yeah, there's a few people who have worked on the film. One in particular is M.K. Davis. He's down in the southern portion of the United States, Mississippi, I believe. He's done a lot of work on it, done a lot of, you know, obviously that was 8mm film and it's hard. You're going to have grainy, you're going to have a lot of things that you just simply can't clear up in the film. But the work that he has done on it is pretty phenomenal. As far as studies are concerned, a lot of the most recent stuff that's been done, as we all know, with our special effects crews on these movies, they now you know, put these sensors on a person. The person's usually got like these tights on with sensors behind with a green board behind them, you know, and that's how they animate a lot of things. They've done a study with the Patterson-Gimlin film with a fella who tried to closely mimic that entire movement, and they just couldn't pull it off. Every attempt they made, and they did it for hours and could never pull it off. So I mean, there has been a lot of recent studies done on the film itself, but again, you got to figure it's been 40+ years. You're looking at the same piece of footage. You know, I just don't know if we can pull any more information from that film.
It's kind of like the famous Loch Ness photo.